1 year later, and Starfield is still an absolute embarrassment. But hey, now at least it's not the only embarrassment. There's Concord, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Star Wars Outlaws. At least there are other competitors for the worst game of the year title.
The last time we talked about Starfield, it was around the 8-month mark in which Bethesda had produced very little post-launch support. In that video, we explored the fact that the game just...
Now, if you would ask Bethesda, they would say that they have done amazing upgrades and whatnot. Fixed bugs, created new bugs. Then it turns out they didn't fix the old bugs. It's an experience.
Was not good enough, especially for a developer that at one point led this industry by example. Bethesda has for a while now been...
By accident, though. By sheer coincidence and luck.
Falling behind as other developers in the RPG genre have pushed the medium forward with expansive choice and consequence, cinematic presentation, realistic animation and AI, superb writing, and polished fluid gameplay. These character...
Man, how every Starfield fanboy is saying, oh, don't worry, Starfield's gonna get a cyberpunk redemption story. No. No, obviously no.
Characteristics in many regards is what Bethesda has struggled with this last decade, flaws that have become more and more glaring as time has gone on. Innovation and technological advancements in the industry have in some
It's hard for me to say who looks manlier, the woman or the man.
regards been Bethesda's worst enemy. This opinion is one that many have felt, thus why the user reviews for Starfield have been so divisive. There is just not one specific thing to look at for why Bethesda's first new IP in decades has struggled to grab audiences. Some will bring up the game engine, some will bring up the lackluster world building, some will bring up the bugs, some will bring up the empty planets, some will bring up the loading screen, some will bring up the lack of identity. The one common...
Some will bring up the story, some will bring up the writing, some will bring up the inventory, some will bring up the quests, some will bring up the world design, some will bring up absolutely everything. Honestly, I can't even think of a single thing that Starfield is right. They don't do anything right. It's just all bad without exception.
common feeling is that Bethesda needs to be better, and this quality will not be good enough for The Elder Scrolls 6, a game people have been waiting well over a decade for in Bethesda's next big RPG. Some are indeed bracing for...
Yeah, when Starfield hit, a lot of people instantaneously were no longer hopeful for Elder Scrolls 6, because if it's going to be on the same engine, made by the same people who did Starfield, the hell are you supposed to expect of Elder Scrolls 6? It's gonna be a disaster. It's gonna be horrible.
For the worst. Now with that last video I did on Starfield, the response from many of you was in agreement that Starfield was not good enough and it was aging poorly. But there certainly was a vocal crowd that wanted everyone to know that they think everyone is wrong about Starfield and people like myself are just hating to hate.
Yeah, those people are called insane. Now, there are always going to be a lot of slop eaters, but I feel that gaming is like this extremely interesting field. Same with, honestly, movies and a lot of other pastime activities, where some people are just not willing to accept the fact that something that they like is just colloquially considered complete shit. Which is strange. Okay, I play games that are considered bad and I like them, and that's fine. I accept that most people think it's bad and that they don't agree with me, but some people are fundamentally incapable of accepting the idea that whatever garbage they like is not actually loved by every single other person in the world. Sad and pathetic.
A hater, this is where haters come to cry. I've never seen so many goofballs keep up with a game they hate so much. None of you matter. It's a Bethesda game. They have their identity and don't care for your opinion, and I respect that. It's definitely aging like Gein wine now. Aging poorly? That shit was... Oh wait. Arguing with individuals like this is basically arguing with a wall, as they view this mediocrity as just the Bethesda-style RPG. Most will acknowledge the flaws I mentioned earlier, but write it off as just the typical thing you see in games, and really not...
No, it's not. No, it's not. There are tons of games that don't have this sloppy problem.
Not that big of a deal because they still think the game can be fun. This neglects to mention these flaws are many that have followed Bethesda for over a decade and only been amplified with Starfield's wider scope of 1,000 planets in which seamless space exploration is hindered by technological constraints. And certainly, Bethesda Game Studios is not held to the same standard as the rest of the industry, as they in many regards set.
Well, space exploration is definitely hindered by technical restraints in the sense that space exploration doesn't exist. There's no technology to support it in the first place.
The example of the AAA open world RPG years ago. So indeed, people like myself are more critical, far more critical, and that is because I have love for franchises like Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. I want.
Yeah, I think Skyrim is a great example. I don't personally like Skyrim too much, but that's fine. It's still a good game at the end of the day. It's not perfect, and I think it's way too shallow, but it's still a decent game. And it's okay. But Starfield cannot even be called decent by any circumstances.
Them to be better, but this is a conversation that really began around Fallout 4's launch, and we are still having that conversation a decade later. Todd Howard and May even acknowledged that they want this harsh criticism from fans.
These franchises and the time that people spend in the games, they're really, really important to them. You wish people would be nicer, but it does matter a lot to them. At the end of the day, the fans and the consumers, they should, if it's not living up to what they want out of it, we expect that criticism. We need.
Oh, this is just a dumb PR point. Todd Howard is just snake oiling it up like there's no tomorrow. He's not saying yes to anything. He's not saying no to anything. He's just trying to get as little pushback as possible.
We need to hear it, and we need to get better. And we're really, really welcoming of it. We're actually like our harshest critics here in terms of all of that.
Starfield is by no means the worst video game ever. It's more frustrating than anything else. And the longer you play, experiencing the other playthroughs, the Starborn twist with New Game Plus,
The Starborn twist. Calling anything in this story a twist is just a little bit too much already.
venturing onto different procedurally generated tiles, that frustration grows because of the game's lacking identity and constraints. Bethesda, though, has been working these last few months with better fleshing out Starfield with a series of improvements, many of which I see as welcome additions. In May, Starfield finally got an overhaul to its god-awful in-game surface maps, along with new difficulty options and ship interior decoration tools. Right around the Xbox Summer Showcase, Bethesda announced that creations were coming to the game. There was new bounty hunting missions,
We already have 2 missions. Both of them are 20 minutes waste of time, money grabs. It is insane.
new bounty hunting scanner tool, craftable ammo, melee weapon tiers, and some other smaller gameplay improvements. All of this is good, but it doesn't and has not changed the perception surrounding the game. It also doesn't help that the quality of this content is hit or miss. New Tracker Alliance missions, well, that's kind of cool until you realize Bethesda is using its paid mods creation hub to sell official content. It's really bizarre why this just isn't sold as DLC content, because that's exactly what it is. But selling a $7
Because it pushes people in the store more.
quest, it's not a good look. It's nickel and diming, made worse by the fact that the quest line is over in about 20 minutes. You travel to Cheyenne, go.
And the weapon that you get at the end of the quest line is a sniper rifle with 4 shots. And it has been bugged for months now because you can't reload that gun. Yeah. You can't reload the gun.
Do the job board and are tasked with finding the Vulture as they become a national security threat. This takes you to a different system after the annoying loading screens in which you need to investigate a military outpost where the Vulture was last spotted. When arriving, there's a scout there that before dying alerts you to the fact that the Vulture is shooting at range. You clear out some of his goons and then go to a cave system nearby and quickly do the same. Gain information and then back to Cheyenne to inquire about the Vulture's identity, which then sends you to the planet with a hotel. You arrive, go to his supposed last location, which is a hotel room, and surprise, it's an ambush as nearby he's shooting at you. After a lengthy walk up to the cliff he's camped out on, you take him out, and the quest is over. It ends in an awkward manner, with it almost seeming like you can turn him into a specific authority, but abruptly it just ends. There's a few other ways to finish the quest, but still charging $7 for this is baffling in my opinion. So much so that
10, because you need to buy the $10 pack to buy with the currency to buy this expansion, so it's actually 10.
We even had Todd Howard being asked about this pricing, in which he basically admitted they need to be better about this.
First of all, I say that stuff gets priced based on, things that we've done before, both in Creation Club and then Fallout 76. And we're always trying to be kind of looking at what else is out there, really make sure we're giving value to everybody. And where we're not, hey, we definitely will adjust. The one thing I want to say on the Trackers
This is obviously a lie.
Alliance, that was really an attempt to something we did in Creation Club where we'd say, hey, you get this special outfit and you get this special weapon. We kind of wanted to put them together.
That's still bugged again.
And then thought, let's go the extra mile and wrap those around a quest. But now we definitely see the feedback, right? And that's like not what we want at all in terms of, oh no.
Yeah, people were pissed about this DLC, but that didn't prevent them from pumping out a new one.
Oh, this looks like a faction.
But now it's $5 for 20 minutes, which is still bad, obviously.
And that we're chopping up and then selling for 700 credits at a time. And so I do think we're going to take a look at that and how we deliver content, like that, and whether we're...
And also, the most hilarious part, it's this first DLC was a complete bait and switch, because they had the first part of the quest for free. And it was actually the interesting part where you got a little bit of dialogue, it was way better. And then, if you want to finish it, you needed to pay the $7. And, well, that was shit. They literally baited you in to spend money.
Changing pricing or breaking it up or what we should do there.
Now, that was the paid Tracker Alliance quest. The other free one also comes alongside issues. But before we continue, this video is brought to you by War Thunder, the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made. Quest is having you use the bounty hunting scan feature to find an associate of the Starjacker, the man that you're trying to hunt down. After a short conversation and some persuasion work, he gives us intel to the chop shop, where this criminal is supposedly hiding out in. After clearing out hordes of enemies in zero gravity, we eventually find a ship key we need for the quest to continue. This is where the quest begins to bug out and leaves me confused for a lengthy period of time. I go back to the ship, unlock it, clear it out, and there is zero indication of what I'm supposed to do next to find the Starjacker. I do find a computer terminal, but everything within it is locked out. So I left the ship eventually and searched everywhere, to then resorting to finding a guide online which highlights that the UI for myself glitched out, and it didn't mention that I needed to find an area above the ship for the quest to continue. This is a clip of my frustration.
This is, I think, the second DLC, but it doesn't matter. They're all bad.
So anyway, I had to go watch a YouTube video for this to fucking work. Because for some reason this didn't load. I've been walking around like an idiot, so confused. But I guess I had to go up here and I had no idea.
Nice.
Just the typical nature of these buggy Bethesda games. Jesus, dude. But because I went up in this area, now I think I can go down into this ship, and it'll give me the option that I was...
Bro, imagine playing Starfield again, then doing this quest, paying Bethesda money for your own suffering, and then be bugged out and not find where you need to progress. And this is how mad you are? MF, I would be spitting the N-word. I would be cursing in every language on the word, okay? I would be saying all the prohibited words. Oh my god, I would probably end myself. But this is supposed to be mad? This is calm, baby.
Supposed to have originally. And watch, I'm gonna go to the computer and it's gonna give me the option to shoot this stupid fucking missile. Watch this. It's gonna have the option. There it is. Oh.
And?
Every single time with these Bethesda experiences.
God, the terminals are so bad.
The rest of the quest is whatever, as I just didn't care at that point.
You think Fallout terminals are bad and annoying, but Starfield is just another level.
It was ruined. This is a constant with these Starfield updates, something that has become Bethesda's reputation. Infamously, Skyrim's main quest was bugged.
Yeah, I think that there's not a single person with even a shred of talent left working in Bethesda.
out for me. I needed a mod to fix that. Within Fallout 4, still to this day, a couple of quests never could be completed on my main save because they just stopped working. Fallout 76 had high-profile examples of these broken updates, and even earlier this year, the next-gen update for Fallout 4 broke the game in a number of ways that
it's still broken as much as I know.
still have not been fixed. This
Yeah.
is the unacceptable shit that some fans wish for me to ignore, but it's astonishing how buggy these experiences always end up being. Even Starfield's latest update, which introduced a land vehicle, has broken part of the game for me on the Xbox Series X. The vehicle in of itself is yet another example of a nice new addition that
No, the vehicle is not a nice new addition. It's boring, it's dull, it adds absolutely nothing of value.
probably should have been there day one. Its function is getting you from point A to point B faster, and it does that. Its combat function is not all that great, but you can ram into enemies or shoot an energy blast at them. It drives alright with limited physics.
He cuts, look.
But you can ram into enemies or shoot an energy blast at them. It drives alright with limited physics, like it'll float in the water, it'll push through snow or sand, it has a useful headlamp, and you can maneuver it around enough with launching into the air, boosting your speed. It is nice to have with some new
Oh wait, that's a feature? Well, who cares?
NPC lines, but its function with traversal is limited as the game wasn't built with it in mind. It's basically
Its functions are bad. It's barely usable.
Mass Effect's Mako, and that's fine. The problem, however, with this new vehicle
No, it's not fine. The fact that the vehicle just effectively gets you from one loading screen to the other faster is stupid.
update is that for many players it has made many planets look like this, which yeah,
we saw
not
this.
great. For myself, a new problem that I've run into is that procedurally generated tiles won't stop freezing. No matter the settings, performance, or visual mode, this is persistent, and when experimenting with the new land vehicle, I was bumping into some animals, testing it out, to then a glitch emerging with me being launched into the air, and then the game freezing, and then eventually completely crashing. I did post this
Cool.
clip on Twitter and garnered a lot of responses, which ranged from typical Bethesda to, well, it runs fine on my system, to, why do you even cover this game if you're not enjoying it, which is probably the dumbest remark
Yeah, that's the dumbest one out there. Oh, why do you talk about it if you don't like it? Because it's slop. I hate slop, and if we don't point out and laugh and make, slop suffer, then the next game is going to be as slop, There is no such thing as the actions of another never affecting you. Actions of other people always affect you, okay? Diverse society is in a whole, diverse your life is going to be in a whole. Diverse gaming is, the less you point this out. Imagine how many verse games we would already have by this point, probably, if everyone just applauded and said, I love Starfield. Oh,
you could make to someone that is covering and reviewing contents of a game. Being the Starfield hater that I supposedly am, I noticed that within this new August update, Bethesda also introduced a new paid quest in their Creations Hub, and it's probably my favorite gameplay experience in the entire game to date.
Yeah, it's
for
the
$5,
escape
you get put in an escape room-like quest line in which you have to really experiment and explore around with the environment to figure
it's so stupid.
out how to proceed forward and ultimately escape. There, of course, are a few twists, decisions that you make that impacts how the next room will go, hidden information and tools to find, individuals that you don't really trust, and different ways to finish this, but this was excellent, and I just really wish Bethesda
Individuals you don't trust but can't kill.
wasn't nickel and diming like this, as I personally would like to not have this as a precedent in the industry moving forward, in which every aspect of a single player game is broken down into different microtransactions. Bad enough what's already been normalized, which surely enough began all those years ago with Bethesda and Horse Armor. What's next to follow for Starfield is its massive expansion, Shattered Space. This will, or probably has to be, the turning point for this game. Todd Howard earlier this year in an interview with YouTuber Mr.
Shattered Space is gonna be so bad, it's gonna be insane. And that's honestly probably it.
Mr. Matty Plays indicated yearly story expansions could be the path forward for the game, although
Dude, Shattered Space is gonna be one planet with 3 locations, or 4 maybe if we're super lucky. And that's it. That's gonna be the whole expansion. It's gonna be so bad. I can't wait to not buy it and watch other people play it and then laugh about how the story is that just bad.
So he very much said that it is hopefully something that they can do for a very, very long time, likely linked to the popularity of the game and if enough players are still engaged with it, which right now Starfield has not been doing all that great. It has been hovering around under 10,000 players on Steam for a while. For comparison's sake, Fallout 4, Skyrim.
Dude, it's honestly impressive that it has that many players. The Bethesda fanboys are truly a unique breed of stupid.
And Cyberpunk 2077 are all at least double the current player base. But with Shattered Space not being a day one free with Game Pass experience, it will be very interesting to see the level of interest in spending the $30 or so for this DLC expansion. So far what we
Probably 40.
know about Shattered Space is that it seems to be focused on House Va'ruun, probably the most interesting and unexplored faction that
Interesting because it's unexplored. House Va'ruun was just this mystical thing that exists, and it was interesting because Bethesda added no story about it. It's just this mystical thing that everyone says is mystical and grand and whatnot. And that's pretty much it. That's the only reason it was good, because Bethesda did not add any lore to House Va'ruun. It just existed and we knew about it. And by sheer association that everything else in the game is just poorly done slop shit, House Va'ruun became the most interesting thing in the game by a landslide because reasons. Anyway, I feel so done. Anyway, that was Legacy Kill HD 10 out of 10. Bye.